Hello. So, your last chapter, we looked at the topic of retirement. Um, I encourage you to examine retirement experiences from other industrialized nations, and compare them to the United States. I know some of you really thought hard about the discussion question this past week about is retirement a basic right? And kind of depending on the country you're looking at, that answer is different. So, what are other social policies related to retirement? How are disabled cared for within some of these countries, especially as they grow older? Um, what about spouses who didn't work? If I look at my grandparents' generation, women stayed at home and took care of the family. They didn't work. So, how should those spouses be cared for if that was the culture at the time? How do we ensure that Social Security retirement is enough for somebody to have their basic needs met? Are cost of living adjustments enough? We often hear about elderly who are on fixed incomes, and they have to make tough decisions sometimes about purchasing medication that they need for their life, but costs a lot, and then they have to make decisions about what else in their budget they're going to cut out. What social policies and social institutions do we have that impact the working poor and those living in intergenerational poverty? I know some of these questions are veering more into sociology versus psychology, but things like this are not necessarily clear cut. You're taking this class in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic. People who have worked hard, which is something that many of you discussed, are losing vast amounts of their retirement through 401ks, 403bs, if they're lucky enough to work in a job that has those benefits. What about people who are doing essential services that do not have those kinds of benefits? Aren't they entitled to a retirement? What about somebody who is going to be retiring and worked hard for 30, 40 years? They're retiring in the next couple of months, and their retirements have tanked in the last 3 to 4 weeks. So, again, I think this coronavirus situation is really going to make us rethink some of the social policies that we've enacted and the impact that it may have on some who aren't as lucky as others.